Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Week 10 Weekly Football Coaches Conference Call. I'm Todd, Assistant Commissioner for Communications at the Southland Conference. I'll be the moderator for the call today. I'd like to go over a few guidelines for the call. We do restrict the call to official news gathering media members only. The general public, including fans and fan websites, are prohibited from participating during the live call. We ask that you do not place the call on hold or use the speakerphone function at any time while on the call today. We have muted all phone lines, so prior to speaking or asking a question, you will need to press star 6 to unmute your phone line. It's the same command to unmute your line after you are done asking a question. Media, prior to asking a question, I ask that you identify yourself by name and media organization, and that any violation may lead to immediate disconnection from the call. As a reminder to media, I want to inform you that the preseason basketball coaches conference calls are the next 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday. Those calls will begin at 9:30 a.m. Central Time. On Wednesday, we'll have the coaches from Arkansas, the states of Arkansas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma. And then on Thursday, we'll have the 7 institutions in Texas participate. Again, both calls at 9:30 a.m. It's the same access information as this call. So hopefully we'll have good media turnout for those 2 calls the next couple of days with our men's and women's basketball coaches. We will stream the call live on the Southland Conference digital network, including Southland.org, and we will have the preseason polls will be announced tomorrow morning. Moving on with today's football call, normal schedule of coaches this morning joining us, so looking forward to that. I'd like to go over last week's results. Sam Houston State beat Northwestern State 44-10. Central Arkansas beat Stephen F. Austin 66-31. McNeese State beat Nicholls 55-30. Southeastern Louisiana beat Lamar 56-34. And then there were 2 games involving future Southland Conference members. Abilene Christian lost at New Mexico State 34-29, and Incarnate Word beat Houston Baptist 24-3. This week's schedule, we have Sam Houston State playing Stephen F. Austin at Reliant Stadium in Houston. That game is Saturday at 3 p.m. on the Southland Conference Television Network. Also Saturday, Nicholls is at Lamar at 6. Southeastern Louisiana is at McNeese State at 7. And Central Arkansas visits Northwestern State at 7 p.m. on ESPN3. 2 games involving future Southland members. Houston Baptist plays host to Texas College Saturday at 7. And Incarnate Word is at McMurray Saturday at 2. So that's the schedule for this week's games. I want to go over the polls real quickly. We have 4 Southland Conference teams. That's half of the Southland football teams this year that are in the polls. McNeese State remains the top team in both polls. The Cowboys are number 4 in the Sports Network poll and number 7 in the coaches poll. Sam Houston State is number 8 in the Sports Network poll and number 9 in the coaches poll. Central Arkansas is number 15 in the coaches poll and number 18 in the Sports Network poll. And Southeastern Louisiana finally cracks the top 25 at number 25 in both of those polls this week. Players of the week last week. The offensive player of the week was Ryan Howard from Central Arkansas. He threw 4 touchdown passes and completed 18 of 30 passing attempts for 403 yards and leading the Bears to the 66-31 win over Stephen F. Austin. He's 2-0 as a starter. The defensive player of the week was Eric Fiailo from Sam Houston State. He led the Bearcat defense with 11 tackles in the 44-10 win over Northwestern State. He had 5 solo stops and assisted on 6 tackles. Leads the Bearcats with 58 tackles this season. Special teams player of the week, Jatavius Wilson. He returned the opening kickoff of the second half for 85 yards for a touchdown. In the win over the Lumberjacks, he averaged 54.3 yards per kick return, totaling 163 yards on 3 returns. He also added 80 yards rushing and 71 receiving yards for 314 all-purpose yards last week. We'll go ahead and move on to the coaches portion of today's call. Coach Conque, are you with us?
Yes, I am, Todd.
All right, joined now by Clint Conque, the head coach of Central Arkansas. Last week, the Bears beat Stephen F. Austin 66-31, and this week play at Northwestern State Saturday at 7 p.m. on ESPN3. The Bears are 5-3 overall, 2-1 in conference play. Coach, if you would, talk about your homecoming win over the Lumberjacks, and then what you're expecting from the Demons this week.
Sure. Certainly big win for this football team as we continue to reinvent ourselves a little bit, particularly on offense, with a bunch of new faces and the influx of freshmen. I thought the real key to the game Saturday, was defensively in the first half. We were able to contain Stephen F. Austin to only 10 points, and I think that gave us some confidence, moving forward offensively. Obviously, we made some big plays in that game. Saw a lot of, man and zero coverage, press coverage, and thought our quarterbacks did a good job of delivering the football and putting it in spots for our receivers to make catches. And I thought our big receivers and so forth went up and made plays, for the offense. But obviously, you mentioned Jatavius Wilson gave us a huge lift and reestablished some momentum coming out of the second half with the kickoff return for a touchdown. It was an extremely wild third quarter. There were 52 points scored in the third quarter. We were fortunate to be on the 38 points of that. I thought we played really good red zone defense. 2 interceptions in the tight red area. One was returned 98 yards, for a touchdown by Marvin Mitchell, and Justin Hurd had 15 total tackles in that game, and majority of those were out in space and played very well. His presence back the last couple of weeks has made a huge difference. Big win, homecoming. Brady Attaway's. Glad he's graduating. That's an explosive offense, very difficult to defend, and I wasn't pleased how we finished the game, particularly putting in some reserves and so forth. We got a little loose there at the end, and we got to clean up some issues in our punt team. But we moved forward, and you got to go on the road. Very difficult to win on the road in this conference. Jay Thomas is someone I've known for a very long time, going back to our college days, and great respect for him and the programs that he's run, and obviously at Northwestern. He's got a renewed enthusiasm with the Demons now. He's got a bunch of new faces. He's got them playing very, very hard. Very aggressive on defense, a lot of different looks and blitz packages. And, their offense makes you play out in space, and they've got some playmakers at running back and receiver. I'm very impressed with their quarterback. I believe he's a junior college transfer. And they've done a nice job, getting their kids to play hard. Very competitive defensively. They're one of the best in our conference right now. And we got to go on the road, and it's going to be a huge challenge for this young team. We've only got one senior on offense right now, and we've got a few left on defense. But it's going to be an enormous challenge, and we've got to clean some things up immediately, to keep some momentum going.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for Clint Conque, the head coach at Central Arkansas. Media, you may need to press *6 to unmute your phone line, and we do ask that you identify yourself by both name and media organization.
Hey, Coach, this is Matt Viator from the Shreveport Times.
Matt?
You doing all right, Coach?
Doing well, thanks.
You mentioned Jatavius Wilson in the kickoff return. Special teams and coverage is something that Northwestern State's had a bit of a problem with. What have you seen? Anything that you can exploit so far to this point?
Well, I think anytime you change punters and kickers, and they had two excellent players there for many years, you're going to go through some growing pains there. I'm not completely sure, what their injury situation is or whatever, but, coverage and blocking and all that's an important aspect of it too. But they're very sound in what they're doing. I just think that anytime you start over with new specialists, there's always, growing pains. We're seeing that with our punter right now. We've progressively gotten worse instead of better. Started off the year well with him, so and he's replacing a 2-year starter there. So, I think they're doing all the right things schematically, and they're in the right spots. I just think anytime you have new specialists involved and people handling the ball and so forth, you do go through some transition there.
You talked about reinventing yourself on offense and getting a couple guys back on defense. What has this team improved on most in this last 3 games or so?
Well, obviously some execution on the field, but I think it transcends that. I think it's a team that's really rallied together, really bonded together. We have high expectations around here, and certainly going to this year with the people we had coming back, and we knew we had some holes to fill. But we lost a couple of close games early to Colorado and Tennessee Martin. We took a whipping by McNeese. We lost some guys before that. We lost some leaders and some quality players after that. And I think this football team has really come closer and bonded together. I think our coaching staff has done a good job schematically and trying to use all the working parts that we have left available to us on both sides of the ball and the kicking game. And that's where we're starting to see a few leaks with our punt team and so forth. Maybe our coverage on kickoff a time or two, but you run out of people. And but I think they have really come closer together. And I know that's an abstract answer for you. Obviously, you got to block and tackle better and catch the ball and so forth, and play good situational football. But I like the spirit of this team, and I think it's really bonded close together in the face of some adversity on the field as far as a couple of close losses, and of course the adversity off the field of losing a lot of quality football players and leaders on our football team.
Thanks, Coach.
You bet.
Other questions for Coach Conque this morning? All right, Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Hey, you bet. Thank you.
Coach Stubbs, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right, joined now by Nicholls head coach Charlie Stubbs. Last week, the Colonels lost to McNeese 55-30, and this week pay a visit to Lamar Saturday at 6. Nicholls is 4-4 overall, 1-2 in the conference. Coach, if you would please talk a little bit about your game last week against the Cowboys, and then give us a preview of what you might be expecting against the Cardinals on Saturday.
Okay, first of all, McNeese is a very good football team, solid in all 3 phases, and, Coach Viator, they've done a great job, and that's all I can say. For us, coming into it, just a good measuring stick of basically where we are. I feel like we have some things that came out of that game that we can build on. I was highly concerned, going in, especially offensively, going against their defense, because the prior week of them playing Sam Houston, which we know how explosive they are on offense, and they held them pretty much in check, especially in the running game. That was really a worry. And we were able to find a way to run the football, and I was pleased with that. We were able to finish a few drives versus them, put some points up there, but we've got to learn offensively that we've got to finish drives. And we had to take too many field goals, and we had one just stall out on the drive. but again, very good football team. Defensively, though, again, we've got to find a way to stop the run, and McNeese's explosive offense too, and they exploited all of our weaknesses and did a very good job, and we just aren't sustaining it defensively. I'm talking about we got to create takeaways or turnovers, and then we got to get more guys around the ball. We're having to make too many individual tackles, so that was one. And then McNeese, of course, did a great job, especially in the second half with their special teams. And as the previous coach said, we're getting so many injuries that it isn't just when you lose the offense and defensive player. Usually you lose the special team player too at the same time. And so what's happening is our numbers are starting to get thinner and thinner each game. So that takes its toll on our special teams. But all in all, we played a very good football team, well deserved of all their rankings and everything like that. I thought that we were much more competitive than we've been in the past with them, and it's something to build on. As for Lamar again, I feel like a very good team. I look at their record in the conference; they haven't won a game yet, but they've been in those games with a position to win. So I know that we're going to have our hands full there. As many have said already, with all the injuries, I'm excited. It's a challenge as a coach to see if some of your young men who haven't been playing much, can they step up and shoulder the responsibility. And so we've had some guys do that. In fact, Marcus Washington, who was one of our, of course, best players on our offense, was injured, and he has knee surgery tomorrow, and he's out for the year. But little Dalton Hilliard has gone in and done a very good job for us at running back in his spot, rushing for almost 100 yards in the 2 games that he's 100 yards each game in the 2 conference games that he's played in. So, we have some guys, and hopefully the others will step up, and we can be very competitive. But I know it'll be a super game. They're always a close game between these 2 programs.
All right, we'll go ahead and take questions now for Charlie Stubbs, the head coach at Nicholls.
Hey, Coach, this is Raymond Torch at the Belmont Enterprise. How you doing today?
Doing very well.
Coach, talk a little bit about, you say that you have to, make sure to run the ball more effectively. You've been able to do a nice job with Dalton in there. Talk a little bit about how do you feel confidence-wise going up against Lamar's defense, which has been good against the run this year, particularly against Sam Houston State, where they kind of held Tim Flanders in check for less than 100 yards and no scores. How do you like your matchup?
Well, we're going to have to run the football because it helps our team. Right now we're inexperienced and kind of battered and bruised on defense. So the time that we defeated Northwestern State, the recipe for success for us was we were able to find a way to run the football. We controlled time of possession. We also scored on those drives, and that's what it's going to take. We can't go 3 and out, versus Lamar, and we just got to stay with it. And I feel like we will stay with the plan. And again, we're getting better at throwing the football too. It's going to be great. Of course, Kalen Henderson returns too. So, and Toscani Figueroa, I think he's the 3rd leading rusher in the conference right now at quarterback. And then Kalen Henderson, who I mentioned, who had broken his leg versus Western Michigan, and he's back and had a little bit more playing time last game versus McNeese. So, I'll work both of those guys in at quarterback, but I feel like we're getting better in the passing game, and I feel like if we can do that, then we can at least get Lamar to play us honest and not put everybody in the box.
And Coach, talk a little bit about on the other side of the ball. Obviously, you know what you're wanting to do on offense, but what does Lamar pose with their offense against your defense?
Well, they're very balanced. They've got really good players. They got a quarterback who, the last game in particular, executed very well, and again, their passing game. The biggest thing that we haven't been able to do defensively is really stop the run. The games and the times that we do, boy, we can be pretty good on defense. But right now, statistically, it says that we're a very good pass defense, and I think the jury's still out on that right now because people aren't really having to throw, like they would be forced to do. So because they're running the football on us, so it's a team game, and I know the coaches, we're trying to do everything we can to put these kids in a position, but we know that we got our hands full with their offense also.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. welcome.
Anything else for Coach Stubbs at Nicholls? All right, Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Coach Roberts, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, joined now by Ron Roberts, the head coach at Southeastern Louisiana. Last week, the Lions beat Lamar 56-34 on homecoming, and this week, Southeastern visits McNeese State. That game is Saturday at 7 p.m. The Lions are 6-2 overall and 3-0 in the conference. Coach, talk a little bit about your homecoming game last week and the win over the Lamar, and then what you're expecting this week in a top 25 battle, top 10 battle with McNeese.
Well, I was real pleased with how we played, especially the second and third quarter. Lamar's a very good football team. I saw their offense just getting better every week, and they executed a lot on us and both able to put some points on the board. But I was pleased our offense got going, our run game, and Brian Bennett got hot, and our receivers made some plays, and we were able to put a lot of points on the board there. Scored a quarter and 5 straight possessions, and our kickoff coverage is excellent. They've been very good, which you got to need this. There's a lot of threats, kick return threats in this conference. Everybody's got one, and they've been able to play very well. So we're very excited about that. They had 6 stops inside the 20, which was huge for us on the field position battle early in the game. We give a lot of yards on the defense side of the ball, and some late scores that I really wish we wouldn't have done that. Made some mistakes. We're still on the side of the ball trying to eliminate mistakes and try to get better every week. But, again, I'm going to give credit a little bit to Lamar, and our quarterback did a heck of a job. So it was a great environment. It was homecoming. There was an outstanding crowd, and they were very involved in the ball game. I think it helped us tremendously in the ball game for the excitement and emotions of the game. And again, just being there and being a distraction for Lamar. But we're trying to get better every week, and obviously we're stepping on new grounds every time we win a ball game. We're stepping on new territory here, so that's a challenge. Also, make sure we handle it the correct way, and our players stay grounded and understand what they got to do to be successful every week.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for Ron Roberts, the head coach at Southeastern Louisiana. Media, please remember you may need to press *6 to unmute your phone lines, and please identify yourself by both name and media organization. Coach, talk a little bit about being ranked this week for the first time this season, and a first for your institution since the 2004 season.
I'm excited for our players. That type of recognition, and that's great. But if you continue to win, it'll take care of itself. If you don't, then you didn't belong being in there. So we got a huge challenge this week. Also, we've got a great football team at McNeese State, and you want to get your program positions where you can actually play in these type of games. You can play in a game. That means something that's important. And again, we know we're up against McNeese. The environment, the place, the hostile crowd, great football team. Their offense is outstanding, and we're looking forward to the opportunity and the challenge, and see how well we can play against those odds.
Other questions for Ron Roberts at Southeastern?
Yeah, Coach, this is Alex Dickey over in Lake Charles. For both these programs, what things do you think have changed the most since the last time you met a year ago?
Well, I look at it right now. I think McNeese is somehow, I don't know how he did it, but he got better on the offensive side of the ball. They got one returner back on the offensive line, but they replaced them with some great players and some guys, and they're very efficient, and they've always had that MO. They're very efficient on the offensive side of the ball. They don't make mistakes, and they execute extremely well. But I think they're more explosive and they're more consistent offense side of the ball than they were last year, and it's hard to say. At that time, but they're pretty damn good then. But right now they're playing about as well as anybody in the country on offense side of football. Defensively, they're young, but they got some real explosive players, and they got a lot of speed on the defense side of the football. They also seem to be playing with a heck of a lot of confidence right now. They're as good a football team as we've faced all year long.
This will be their fourth top 25 game, but you also have had a pretty challenging schedule going to South Dakota State and Sanford. Do you feel like it's kind of equal in that regard in terms of preparing yourselves, each team preparing itself for a game like this?
Yeah. We played at TCU, so we played in a hostile environment there, and a great football team. And then South Dakota State was the same type of environment situation, and we think we played some good football teams. I don't think we played a good football team as McNeese is right now, and as well as they're playing. I think they're the best football team we played up to date this year. Like I said, it's going to be a huge challenge for us. And we're going to have to play better than we've played in the past. We're going to have to play better.
Cody Stroud and Brian Bennett, both in the top 11 nationally in efficiency, although their styles are very different, obviously, with Cody being a drop back guy, and Bennett, you don't know whether he's going to run or pass. Just how do you compare and contrast these two? I guess the results are kind of similar, even though the styles are not.
Yeah, I think Cody's. He's an excellent quarterback. He's a senior, and been growing up in that system, and has a great command of the offense. He's able to just put them in great situations and get the ball to the right guys and take care. He does an excellent job to take care of the football. Brian's a guy that, again, I think he's developed a long way as a quarterback. Beginning of the season, and we had a discussion whether he's going to be an athlete playing quarterback or he's going to be a quarterback that is an athlete. And he has put himself in that situation. He's played exceptionally well the last couple of games where he is a quarterback that is a true dual threat. He can pull the ball down and extend a play, and he can pull the ball down and hurt you if you don't have him contained, and he can do that. And I think Cody can do the same things. He doesn't run very much. I think he's a good athlete. I think he's got a real command of where he wants to go with the football and get the ball out quick. So it's probably not taking very many sacks. A lot of it, he knows where he's going with the football and gets it out of his hands real fast.
And my last question for you is, obviously you had a huge loss going into this season on defense with Alfred getting drafted. Who has stepped up for you on that side of the ball to kind of make up that void if possible?
Well, I think, again, it's more of a combination of people than one person. It's hard to get a player to step up and say, hey, I'm going to play at that level of play. Rob was was a blessing to have, and obviously he is a solid NFL football player. Todd Washington has been our guy right now on the back end. But as far as defensively, the biggest thing is we have so much more depth. And we have a lot of guys playing and kind of competing on a weekly basis. We're totally different on that side of it. Of course, last year when we played, we were playing 15 guys on defense, and we struggled with some positions. So we had guys on the field, and they were learning the system, and we made a lot of mistakes. Right now we're a lot better defensive football team, at least with the potential to be defense. We haven't put the numbers up that we like, and we probably haven't played as consistent as we should have. But we are a lot more physical up front. And we're a lot bigger at linebacker, and I think we have a lot more players in the back end that can help and contribute. We really just got to play more consistent on the defense side of the football and take care of your assignments and do it every play and every time we step on the field. And if you don't, versus obviously an offense like this, they're going to put a bunch of points on the board.
Actually, I do have one more. Looking at last year's game, is that the moment that you felt these guys really started to believe the program could get to the point where it is now in the top 25?
Yeah, I think it was a huge moment for us. Obviously, you're placing a great program, a great football team, and McNeese. they've done it for years. Have been an icon, been a power in FCS football, not just the Southland, but in FCS. And I said it before last year's game, and I'll still say it. McNeese is in a situation as a program where we want to be. Year in, year out, to have that type of respect. I mean, I get that coach done an unbelievable job over there. So for us to get that win, I mean, again, to get that win was huge for our program and our players buying into the things we were trying to sell and the things that we were telling them, and it really helped us fight, for the rest of the year and this year to give us some confidence, that we have the ability to play with a premier program like McNeese and go out there and have some success.
Anything else for Coach Roberts today? All right, Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Coach Thomas, are you with us?
Yes, sir.
Joined now by Northwestern State head coach Jay Thomas. Last week, the Demons lost Sam Houston State 44-10, and this week return home to play host to Central Arkansas. That game is Saturday at 7 p.m. on ESPN3. Northwestern State 3-5 overall, 0-3 in the conference. Coach, if you would please open the call with a few comments about your game last week at Sam Houston, and then what you're expecting from the Bears of Central Arkansas on Saturday.
Well, I'll tell you, obviously, Coach Fritz and his staff, got a really quality football team. Very, very good, very, very good in every phase, and really good football players. And they do a great job of making adjustments throughout the game, and that's a credit to their staff. For us, I was very proud of our guys. Came out ready to play the game. It's always tough to go on the road and play, and tough environment. And Sam has have got that tradition going now. They expect to win every football game, and it's a tough place to go and play. I thought our guys came out. We competed well for the first half, and we had some breakdowns in some areas that been really hurting us, in the last 2 or 3 games, and something that we got to continue to work on and try to fix and try to get the best out of the personnel that we have here right now, and still proud of our guys for their effort and way out. We competed from the beginning to the end. It's just when you're playing a team like Sam, they just there's so many weapons that you have to defend, and they do such a good job running their offense, and their defense is so solid, and the kicking game is really good. So it showed on us a little bit, and we wasn't able to ever capture momentum in the game, and then obviously getting the ball into scoring positions and not getting the points that we needed, and shoring up our field goal protection was an issue for us. Missing the kicks the week before was an issue. It's we're fixing things, and we continue to fix things, and we just got to stay with what we're doing and continue to get better at what we're doing, and obviously we've got a very good team coming in to play us here. It'd be good to get back home, play here. I got a lot of respect for Coach Conque and what he's done with that program there. It's amazing what he's able to do, and the way he uses his talent from year to year and his players. He always gets the best out of every one of his teams. That's a credit to him and his staff. And once again, he's doing it again this year, having some injuries through the season, and, and adjusting and still being able to, be very productive across the board. And, throwing the football, they got receivers that can really go get the football, and offensive line's playing really good and rotating 2 quarterbacks in and give you different looks. Very smart football in the way they handle themselves and how they coach their guys. And defense, man, they're always solid across the board on defense, and always really good in the kicking game. So it's going to be a huge challenge for our guys to get up and get ready to play this game. But we're still positive here. We're still working, and that's the approach we're going to take.
We'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for Jay Thomas at Northwestern State.
Coach, this is David McCollum from the Log Cabin Democrat in Conway, Arkansas. And just obviously, UCA has had to readjust and reinvent themselves a little bit on offense. What are your observations about how they have retooled themselves and readjusted with the injuries they've had on offense?
I think it's been a remarkable coaching job. Really has. I think, like I said before, Coach Conque, man, year in and year out, he always finds a way to move the football, and he utilizes the players very smartly. His personnel, I remember him doing it back when I was at Nicholls, and it's just a credit to him and being able to see that and putting his players in the right position to make plays and score points and move the football, and doing what his kids are able to do. And that's just very, very smart coaching on his part. And of course, very good football players and good coaching makes a good combination. And they've been able to do that and reinvent their offense here in the last couple of weeks is very impressive.
And they got two quarterbacks, both obviously are left-handed, but can you tell really some unique factors of each of their quarterbacks?
Well, I'll tell you what, they both bring something different to the table. They throw on the ball very well. Good pocket presence out of both those guys. And I know Coach Conque, they do a good job with the quarterback play. Always has, year in and year out. But they're getting the balls to the guys that there are playmakers, and you can see their running game's really developed, and it's getting better, and they always keep you off balance that way. But both guys do a little something different. They both can obviously hurt you by still running the football, and which really puts a lot of pressure on your defense, having to defend two guys that bring a little something different to the table.
And one other thing, of course, you've been in this conference a while. The third quarter of UCA game against Stephen F. Austin, you had 8 scores, and I think more than half of those with less than a minute or two off the board. Has the pace of the offense changed dramatically in this conference since you've been in there?
Yes, it has. And I think that's the nature of the beast across the country with the style of play on offense these days. I tell you what, defensive coordinators are certainly earning their paycheck. That's no doubt about it. And having to spend a lot of long hours to defend all these offenses. But it's the way it is. It's the way that the times are, and but it's like I said, it's still a credit for them. Being able to score that many points, in one quarter, because it really, defenses are really have their backs against the wall the entire time, and really makes it tough. And you have to have older guys on defense and experienced guys to be able to survive those runs when the offense gets on the run. But that's what they did in the third quarter. They were able to make some big runs there. They hit some really big plays, but also they kept the sticks moving, and that's what I saw. Watching the game, the run game, and the quarterback being able to keep plays alive and being able to move in the pocket. I mean, all those things are very critical in the offense, and that's what I see in them.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Coach, Matt Viator from the Shreveport Times.
Hey,
you doing all right, Coach?
Doing good.
You mentioned their ability to score points quickly. Obviously, your guys have been competitive at different points of the conference games, but it's always been that stretch where the other team has pulled away. What's your concern about the UCA's ability to put points quickly in a row?
Well, it scares you to death. There's no doubt about it. And you don't want to, obviously defending these offenses, and everyone in this conference has really good offenses, and it can get away from you real quick. You got to play really good on the back end, and you got to be very consistent on the back end, particularly in your secondary and your linebackers and their play. So that's an area that we got to continue to get better at doing that. I think we have. We still have a ways to go to get there, but being able to survive those runs, like I was talking about early, being able to shut those big plays off, that was something that hurt us in our games previously. Giving up a big ball, giving up a big run, and try to make offenses earn everything they get. But like UCA, they've got guys, receivers, man, they going up catching balls over DBs, even though they're covered. I mean, got talented guys out there, and of course, quarterbacks are throwing the ball extremely well. That's what I've been impressed with. Stepping in with number 2 and number 3 guy, and not missing a beat, and they really got it rolling here, playing very well.
You talk about, obviously I was still a process of building a program. Is it just youth and responding to adversity in game? We talked about obviously very competitive early against Houston State and other parts of other conference games. Is it a youth thing, or is it something else as well to respond to adversity in game?
Well, I think it's twofold there. We do have a lot of new faces playing. If you look at us on offense, we got 7 new faces there that are playing. Once we started the season, we've had to juggle some guys around defensively. We've got a lot of young guys playing in different areas. We had to move some guys out of their natural position and play other positions, this season, until we can get some of those things taken care of in recruiting, but it's twofold, and also making sure we're putting our guys in, schematically in the right places to have success, and that's something we got to do better as a staff, is making sure we put our guys in position in certain calls, whether it be special teams, offense, and defense, to have success and to be able to give us an opportunity to try to get points on the board. And, we got to do a much better job in our kicking game. And it's a lot of youth that's out there, some inexperienced type guys, some guys that are going to be really good, in the future. We got to remain positive with our guys, continue to harp on what we're trying to get done, and and continue to play hard.
Coach, definitely want to move on here in this call, but appreciate your time today. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Coach Viator, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right, joined now by McNeese State head coach Matt Viator. The Cowboys won last week at Nicholls, 55-30, and this week returned home for a big game against Southeastern Louisiana. That game is Saturday at 7. McNeese is 7-1 overall and 3-0 in the conference. Coach, if you would, talk a little bit about your game last week and then what you're expecting from a top 25 Southeastern Louisiana team on Saturday.
Really good win for us last week to beat. Nicholls is a tough place to play. They always do really well at home, and I think much improved this year. And so just a good win for us. We didn't make a lot of mistakes, which I think was important, and it was an extremely competitive game. And we were really glad to get out of there with a win, and and get to 3-0. And this week, as can't say enough good things about Southeastern when you watch them. I mean, they're extremely talented in all 3 phases of the game. And, starting on offense, Bennett is really good and love their scheme, what they do. To me, their personnel, obviously not, we don't do the things that Bennett can do, but saying in regard to, they play a lot of guys, not necessarily sure who the guy is, but they get a lot of things done, play 3 or 4 running backs like we do. They play 6 or 7 receivers like we do, 2 or 3 tight ends. I mean, they're moving different guys in, and they get contributions in a lot of areas. And offensive line, I think, is really good as well. Defensively, just multiple in their odd defenses. Their stuff they play very, very multiple, and we've actually played against odd teams, but they don't have 240, 250-pound linebackers like Southeastern does. Extremely talented, play hard, running the football, pressure you, a bunch of different pressures. So, we're concerned about that, obviously. And then, the third thing is the kicking game. I mean, they've made plays week after week in the kicking game with Xavier, with 2 kickoff returns. field goal kicker hasn't missed, number one in the league in kickoff coverage. So just extremely impressed with what Coach Roberts has done in their football team, and certainly going to be a huge test for us Saturday night.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for Matt Viator, the head coach at McNeese.
Morning, Coach. This is John Lanz in Hammond.
Hey, John, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Wondered if you could kind of expand a little bit on that quarterback matchup. I know they are kind of different, but in terms of physically and what they do and all that. But the numbers are kind of panned out the same way. They sort of operate. You touched on spreading the ball to so many different people, and Cody's 2 interceptions on the season, just remarkable. Compare those two guys and what they do.
Well, I mean, obviously, different in style, but I think each young man does a great job of running their offense and what they're trying to do. You can tell. I mean, what Bennett's doing and what Coach Roberts and them are asking him to do. I mean, he's done a tremendous job, and he makes great decisions. I think in the run game, in their read game, when to pitch it, when not to pitch it. Running quarterback, just straight quarterback runs, and then he's really done a nice job, in the passing game. I mean, was really good against Lamar, and and Cody does what we ask him to do. So I think both of them have had really good years, in their own way, and they're running, doing what we ask them to do. I think both Coach Roberts and our staff, in terms of running their offense.
Just 2 interceptions for Cody. That's almost unheard of in this passing age. How has he accomplished that?
Well, I don't know, really. I think he's done, number one, he's done a really good job. I mean, obviously protecting the ball, but he's been in this system, and and I think understands where we would like for the ball to go. He has also, I think, through the years, understood better when to throw it away, and when it's just not there. If it's not there, don't force it. We'll punt it, and so I think he's done a really good job in that sense of understanding the offense and. I hate to use that word, but being an overall game manager in what he's doing, and I think he's done a lot better job of that the last couple of years.
When you look at Southeastern, you touched on all the different offensive weapons and all that, but really across the board, watching those films, you're seeing guys shuffling in and out, different numbers on the offensive line, different numbers on the defensive line. Their depth has gotten to be, kind of a remarkable thing.
It is, no question, and their depth, I think their athleticism, their speed, and then, couple that with the fact, they play extremely hard, which, this is, I guess the third, competed against Coach Roberts when he was a D coordinator at Texas State, and played him at Delta when he was at Delta State. His teams always play hard, and they play extremely hard and extremely talented. So, like I said, all 3 phases, I think they're playing really good.
Always the key stats, and looking at the third down, efficiency. Both teams are right there. The turnover margin is kind of illuminating to me. You guys have done a good job of taking the ball away and protecting it. +6 leads the league in turnover margin. You look at Southeastern, they're -5 now. What does it tell you that Southeastern has been able to play so well with a -5 turnover ratio?
Well, their third, it depends on. I think they had, multiple. I know they had like 4. I think in one game, the South Dakota State game, that's a tough place to play. We've been there, but their third down efficiency has been remarkable. And when you go back and look, and it's the same with us. Our third down has been pretty good, and theirs has been real good. But a lot of that, the unknown in that is your success on first and second down. Nobody's going to have a good third down conversion when you're 3rd and 10. So I think what they've been able to do on first and second down has set them up for third down, which we try to do also.
One last thing, I know you guys are kind of used to these kinds of games, but this is pretty big for us over here. Hadn't been at this level before. Is there a little buzz in Lake Charles about this one as well?
Oh, sure there is. Absolutely. 2, 3-0 teams in the league, and they understand that Southeastern's extremely talented. They beat us last year, and but of course Southeastern has played an extremely tough schedule this year. You go to TCU. Like I said, we've been to South Dakota State. That's one of the tougher places that we've ever played since I've been in McNeese. Go to Samford and beat Samford, who's a potential playoff team. So they've obviously been there already. So,
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, John.
Other questions for Coach Viator? All right, Coach. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks, Todd.
Coach Woodard, are you with us?
I'm here.
All right, joined now by Ray Woodard, the head coach at Lamar. Last week, the Cardinals lost to Southeastern Louisiana 56-34, and this week play host to Nicholls Saturday at 6 p.m. Lamar is 3-5 overall, 0-3 in the conference. Coach, if you would, talk a little bit about the game last week and then what you're expecting from the Colonels on Saturday.
Well, we were coming off a very tough loss at home to Central Arkansas. I was concerned that there was going to be a hangover. We got off the bus over there and scored 2 on our first 3 possessions. It stopped them and got off the field and got out to 14-0 lead. And I thought, well, it's a good thing that we've done this and we're to where we need to be, and we don't have any residuals from last week. And then Southeast just started executing offensively, getting off the field defensively, and just really took the game over. I was very impressed with Southeast watching them. I mean, you can only see so much from film, but they're very athletic on the offensive side of the ball. Their offensive line probably blocked us as well as anybody has all year. Gave their quarterback time to throw, and you don't want to give that guy time to throw because he's done a great job with the offense. Got a lot of athleticism in the receiving positions. They go up and make plays when he's not maybe the most accurate. They go out and make catches for him, and he's very accurate to go with it. They run the ball well. There's just no weaknesses offensively. Defensively, they're getting better every week. I think, I said it after the game, they'll go as far as their defense will take them because they're going to score points, and they're getting better defensively, and they had a very good plan against us, especially after our first 2 scores, how they adjusted. Just very impressed with Coach Roberts and his staff and the job they've done with their team. Challenges now is we've got to come back home, and I think we competed very well against Sam Houston, Central Arkansas. I think we've come a long way, but now it's time to have all that show up on the scoreboard. We need a win desperately. I know that Nicholls does as well. This would be a big game for both of us. I think we both have a lot of the same challenges. We both want to win this game. Nicholls presents some problems offensively. Their quarterback is so athletic. Figaro can do so many things to you. You kind of get caught up. It looks like on film a lot of times defenses will start crowding the line of scrimmage, trying to slow him and the rest of their running game down. And when you do, the receivers get behind you. Buchanan, his average per catch is over 28 yards, and he does a good job. And now they've found Dalton Hilliard to kind of out of necessity. He's kind of helped them in their running game. And so offensively, I just see a lot of improvement over what I saw last year. They're putting a lot of points on the board, keeping you honest. Defensively, again, I think they're an improved football team on that side of the ball as well. Chris Berman is playing well. His linebacker spot is all over the place. So they got 2 defensive backs, Byron Cobb and Davin Booby. I think both those guys are good players, and I just see a lot of improvement. And what they've seen on film, I know they're going to be ready to come in here and play, and it's going to be a big game for both teams.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for Ray Woodard, the head coach of Lamar.
Hey, Coach, it's Raymond over here at the Belmont Enterprise. Look, obviously the defense has been a strength of the team all season, especially to start off Southland Conference playing. This past weekend, they gave up 310 rushing yards. Well, what are you guys doing? Was it just simply that their offensive line was maybe a little bit more athletic, a little bit stronger? What was it that enabled them to be able to put up so many rushing yards like they did?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things. First, they're a good football team, and you're concerned with their quarterback lighting you up. So a lot of times you play coverage, and they run the football. That has a lot to do with it. They're not a one-dimensional team. You can't load the line of scrimmage and dare that guy to throw the football. They're too explosive. They got too many weapons throwing and catching. So it's a combination of both. And then when they got up, you're going to run the ball more. And that's just part of football. So, I don't think it's anything we were particularly doing wrong as much as a lot of what Southeast was doing right. They're a good football team. Now we got to do better. There's no doubt that we got to do a better job stopping the run and the pass. But I don't want to discredit Southeast in their effort because they did a great job.
And talk a little bit about, you kind of mentioned, they've had Dalton Hilliard. He's kind of stepped up for them the last few games and everything like that. What kind of challenge does he pose for your defense? Obviously, you've seen the tape on him. What does he have that kind of poses a challenge for you guys?
Elusive. He makes you miss. He's good at finding creases. If you don't control every gap, he's got good vision. He can come out of the backfield and catch the ball as well. Just a good back, and like any good running game, it's you got to have every gap. You got to have gap control. You got to have force on both sides, and stop a good running team. That's what you got to have. But at the same time, you just can't sit all week and talk about stopping the run, and you'll give up 300 in the passing game. So we're just going to have to go back to work defensively and put in a good week and focus on what we need to focus on to stop them, or at least slow them down. I don't think you can completely stop this team, but we're going to have to do a better job of slowing them down and trying to create some turnovers and some field position for our offense.
And talk a little bit, kind of wrap it up, Coach. Talk a little bit about the offense. Obviously, you guys were able to put up some points last week. How you liking your offense in this matchup this week?
Well, offensively, we're only starting 3 seniors. We're a lot younger on that side of the ball. I think we've improved as the season went on. We're getting better at both throwing and running the ball. We're getting more balanced. We're not turning the ball over a lot. We're not getting a lot of penalties. I think we still lead the conference in the least amount of penalties. So we're improving offensively. We're not there yet, but we do feel like that as we improve, we can do more things in our running and our passing game. The more improvement we see, the more we can put on Caleb's shoulders at quarterback, and the more we can take off of his shoulders if we can run the ball better. So we're kind of a work in progress, but I like where we're headed. I'm not completely satisfied, but I like where we're headed offensively.
As always, Coach, thank you, man.
All right, thank you.
Other questions for Coach Woodard at Lamar? All right, Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach Fritz, are you with us?
Yes, sir.
Joined now by Sam Houston State head coach Willie Fritz. Last week, the Bearcats beat Northwestern State 44-10, and this week take on Stephen F. Austin in the Battle of the Piney Woods down at Reliant Stadium in Houston. That game is Saturday at 3 p.m. on the Southland Conference Television Network. Sam Houston State is 6-2 overall, 2-1 in the conference. Coach, talk about your win last week and then what you're expecting against the Lumberjacks in Houston.
Well, a really hard-fought ball game, particularly in the first half. 0-0 at the end of the first quarter. We got a score late in the second quarter to go up 17-3. I had a big kick return by Keyshawn Hill and helped set up our first touchdown of the game. Came in, we received a second-half kickoff and got up 24-3 and played much better in the second half. I think Northwestern's a much improved team. Really play hard, got great size, and especially on the offensive line, the interior defensive line, got some really big guys on both lines. Offensively, Torrance Williams had another good ball game for us, had a couple big catches, some big blocks. Richard Sincere had some big plays for us, both from running the ball and catching the ball. Hit 2 field goal blocks by DeAndre Locke, and not a lot of guys say they block kicks in college games, and not very many guys really do it. And he had 2 in one ball game, so great job by him. And then defensively, Michael Wade continues to play real well for us on the back end, and Eric Failo, our linebacker, was voted Southland Conference Defensive Player of the Week. Big ball game this week against Stephen F. Austin, our rivals. Got the most explosive offense probably in America. They throw the ball all over the place. You watch tape on them, and 2nd and 10 doesn't mean any difference to them. 3rd and 10, it's all the same to them. They feel like they can pick it up no matter what the down and distance situation is. They've added the element of being able to run the ball successfully, and we've got a lot of explosive athletes. Coach Harper and his staff. Every time we play them, we know we're in for a dogfight, and But this is a game that, both teams, I think, really look forward to, going down to Reliance Stadium in Houston. And the Texans and Lone Star Sports really treat us first rate. It's great for us to use in recruiting, to get out there and play in an NFL stadium in front of a big crowd. So it's always a fun ball game to play.
We'll go ahead and open up for questions now for Willie Fritz, the head coach of Sam Houston.
Coach, it's Kevin Gordon, Nacogdoches.
Hi, Kevin.
Man, I know Stephen S. defensive issues have been, well chronicled this year, but maybe talk about your defense, because I think y'all had a lot of questions coming in. It seems like that was the issue with y'all before the season started. How's it progressed, and where are y'all at on defense?
Well, I think, earlier, I think it was Matt that was talking about, everybody's good on offense, and the way the things people are doing is spreading you out and everything else. The days of shutting people out are it's tough to do nowadays. You got to really have a superior defense as far as scheme and personnel to have an opportunity to do that. We've come along defensively. Big question marks for us were, on the back end, and as I said earlier, Michael Wade is really playing well back there. We lost some guys, basically four-year starters on the back end, so we need some guys to step up, and I think they're all playing better each and every week. They're certainly going to have to do that this week against the potent passing attack that the SFA has.
Maybe talk a little bit about Stevens' run game. That's kind of an element that they may not have had in the last 2 or 3 years against you guys, but they seem to be getting, having a lot of success over there, and it's just something else for you guys to worry about.
Yeah, it really is. They'll give us some two-back sets, and got a big old fullback, and they've got some great backs, really run hard. And, if you crowd the box and play the heck out of the run, they'll play action and get some one-on-one matchups. And Hadaway's very accurate and throws on rhythm. And, he's not a lot of college quarterbacks do this. We've got some in our league who do, but he's going to throw the ball and, before the receiver even gets into his break. And he's got a lot of confidence in his accuracy and the receiver being able to catch the ball. So, with them, they're going to count how many you got in the box, and they feel like they got an advantage. They're going to go in and run the football at you. So that is another added element that you have to defend.
Maybe just one more, Coach. Up through the ball, looks like 16 times against Northwestern. And with Stephen S. defensive secondary giving up big plays and big yards, I know you guys you want to run it first, and kind of what y'all do, run it first and set up everything else, but you got to feel like you're going to have some chances for some big plays in this game.
Well, it's the same thing. It's they're crowding the box and putting a bunch of guys up there. We're gonna throw it more and open it up. Just how you got to do it. And but we're always going to try to run the football effectively. We've got some great backs. And we want to get the ball in their hands and control the clock. And if you can get some 3 and outs in there, it's really been a good formula for us.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Anything else for Coach Fritz today? All right, Coach, appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Coach Harper, are you with us?
I'm here.
All right, joined now by J.C. Harper, the head coach at Stephen F. Austin. Last week, the Lumberjacks lost 66-31 at Central Arkansas, and this week take on Sam Houston State Saturday at 3 p.m. in the Battle of the Piney Woods down at Reliance Stadium in Houston. Stephen F. Austin 3-5 overall, 1-2 in the conference. Coach, if you would talk a little bit about your game last week up in Conway, and then what you're expecting down in Houston with the Bearcats.
Yes, sir. I tell you, it was a great environment up in Conway, homecoming, and Coach Conque and his staff did a tremendous job of getting their players ready to play. They played at a high level, played with a lot of emotion, a lot of enthusiasm. That you kind of tell it from the get-go, and the way that they came out really wanting to be physical on defense, and really was impressed with the way that they played hard, and you could tell that that comes from Coach Conque and his staff. They quarterback. I mean, it was amazing. Did a tremendous job of under duress and putting the ball up, and the throws that he made were so incredible to the guys that could only catch it were the receivers. Many times we were in the right position, we just didn't make a play on the ball, and they did. And tremendous receivers that played tremendously hard and played really well. Made some really great catches. You can't just give enough credit to Central Arkansas and the quarterback and the receivers and their offensive line, running backs. Defensively, they played tremendously hard. Got a pick for a touchdown. Did really well. The guys that played well for us, I thought Brady Attaway played tremendous. I thought he played like an all-conference player. I thought we had some receivers that played really well. DJ Ward played really well. Had a big play. And Boyd, I thought, played tremendously hard. I thought our running backs played pretty hard. And defensively, we had some bright spots up front, but our defensive line played well at times. And overall, I think some of our secondary played well at times too. Take away some of the big plays, and Bruno continues to play tremendous. Our punter did a tremendous job, and so moving on. Excited to always be a part of this great game in the Reliance Stadium. Can't thank Lone Star Sports and the Houston Texans for this opportunity to play this game. Obviously, we're playing against one of the better teams in the country, when it comes to FCS football, if not the best team. Huge challenge for us. They got players all over the place. The offense, to me, I've been impressed with Brian Bell since he's been there. He's to me, he's the key, to the whole offense. When it comes to being the quarterback out there and being the coach on the field, Flanders is a tremendous player. I think they've added Torrance Williams. He got hurt last year, but another guy that's very talented and an explosive player. Their offensive line is very physical. Just amazing, sincere, tremendous players on the offensive side of the ball, and very well coached. They executed at a high level. Defensively, really, I don't see a whole lot of difference. Very aggressive, in your face type defense. It's going to be very tough for us to run the football and throw the football. We're going to have to play tremendously well to have a chance in this game against a great football team.
We'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for J.C. Harper, the head coach at Stephen F. Austin.
Hey, Coach, this is Kevin. Gore. You get to a point defensively, maybe where you guys are at, and with the big game coming up, do you start doing some gimmick stuff, maybe bringing a lot of pressure in some situations? I know we all like to play teams straight up in a lot of respects, but you probably don't have nothing to lose really at this stage. Do you do stuff like that, or just kind of kick the can and try to do some different things and see where it goes from there?
Well, I mean, we brought some pressure last week. I thought that was the thing that we needed to be able to do something to help out the back end guys, and we brought as much pressure as you can bring. And sometimes we got there, and then sometimes we were almost there, and he put it up before we could get there. No matter what, to echo what the other coaches were saying, in today's football, there are one-on-one matchups. And so if you're going to be able to get to the quarterback, you might need to bring pressure if you can't get there with four guys. And so, I mean, obviously in every defense, you're going to have some pressure, some blitzes. You're going to have some base and where you just play zone or whatever it is you do and line up and play. I don't really think that's a gimmick. I mean, that's just kind of defense. You have some 4-man rush. You bring some 5. You bring some 6. You bring some 7, and all that is kind of combined together. And you hope to disguise that so that the quarterbacks, which are so well coached today, aren't able to figure out if whether you're doing that or not. And that's very hard to do. I think the thing with Sam Houston that makes it even more difficult is that's why they run the option. You run the option so that it limits the being able to pressure you because you have to be able to take those assignments. And so a lot of times the option makes you play a little more balanced, set defensively.
Coach, it seems like this game, the last couple of years, it kind of someone has the ball and they're moving it good and maybe a punt, but then things kind of just explode, and that's kind of how it went last week for you guys at Central Arkansas. Y'all were kind of hanging on, and then big plays and a turnover or whatever, kickoff return, and going into this one, how do you stay away from things like that? How do you hunker down and do some things you want to do and just kind of keep it close to where maybe it's decided late?
You talking about just this year?
Yeah, this year, even last year, the games that were the last couple of years with Sam, it seems like you're kind of holding on and teams are doing some good things, and then there's just a point fest and turnovers, and then coaches were talking earlier about how it's gotten to where it's hard to on defense to really control anything because the offenses are so good, and just with where y'all were at on defense, maybe last week was an example too. Y'all were competitive and in the game, but then things kind of got away from you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just comes down to, I think, one-on-one matchups. I mean, it comes down to players having to make plays. And, I don't think that's really ever changed since I played the game. I mean, there's a reason why players are there and their job is to make plays. I think, if you flip it over to the same thought process on the other side of the ball, Flanders and Sincere and Torrance Williams and Brian Bell, those guys, they make plays. And so you got to have defensive guys that make plays as well, defensively. We do. We just don't have them all the time. And I think the hard part about defense today is that it's consistent, it's constant. And with us playing a high tempo, no huddle offense, we're trying to force that issue. And we're trying to make it so that we play at a high rate to be able to accentuate that and make it even harder on the defense to be able to sit there and hone in and do that. So I think that's what's really hard in today's football. And I think momentum is huge. Third quarter last week, it's the momentum of the kickoff return is obviously what was big, but we came right back and scored a touchdown, which to me is amazing from our offense, and that we came back and scored a touchdown that quickly and answered on the very next drive. And so to me, that's right now what it is. And I know at SFA is we have to score, and then defensively, against Montana State when we won that game, we came up with one stop that we really needed on sudden change when we turned the ball over offensively. We got that one stop and held them to a field goal, which to me was huge because it kept momentum in the game. So I think it's about momentum.
All right, buddy. Thanks.
Yeah.
Anything else for Coach Harper?
All right, Coach. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay.
That will conclude this week's football call.
Definitely want to thank all of our coaches and media for their participation today. We will have a replay available this call later today on the Southland website. Also want to just one more reminder that our basketball preseason calls are Wednesday and Thursday. We'll have coaches, men's and women's coaches from our Louisiana, Arkansas, and Oklahoma schools on Wednesday beginning at 9:30 a.m. Central, and coaches from our Texas schools on Thursday at 9:30 Central. Hope you can join us. Until tomorrow, have a good day. Thanks.